Ladies and gentlemen, these Jay Slater TikTok videos are going to prove that the official narrative has been fabricated. Let's check this out. I want to start with Affiliate and debunk Affiliate's statement. Just to let you guys know, this Affiliate's statement is more or less the glue holding this narrative together. Now, they claim that Jay was at the Airbnb. The witness statement also confirms that as well. It's this statement that helps direct the narrative, that Jay walked up the road and she see him walking up this road. But let's listen to this statement.
She thinks she saw Jay trying to find
Firstly, she thinks she saw Jay
his way back to his hotel.
On Monday morning, I was on my way home when a young man came up to me.
She was on her way home that early in the morning. I'm really curious to know what she was doing. Now, I've been made aware that the cafe next door to the B&B doesn't open until 10 a.m. in the morning. So why was she leaving to go home at 8 o'clock in the morning?
To ask me about the bus timetable.
So he approached her to ask her about the bus timetable, even though there is a bus timetable at the bus stop.
Told him that the next bus was at 10 a.m.
So she told him initially that the first bus was at 10 a.m.
Shortly after, he came back to me. Apparently, he didn't understand me due to the language barrier.
Okay, so the second time he come up to her again and asked for the bus times again, and she is saying that it's because of the language barrier. If this lady can't speak English, how does she know that Jay didn't understand what she was talking about? How does she know what Jay was talking about? And how would she have known if Jay understood what she said if she doesn't understand the English language? It makes no sense that the first time round he come up to her, asked for the bus time, and you told him that the bus comes at 10 o'clock, but you can't speak the English language. He then left as if he understood what you had said, and then came back the second time to ask you again.
And asked me again what time the next bus was due.
How do you know what he was asking you if you can't speak the language?
I told him again that the next bus was at 10 a.m., pointing at him with the 10 fingers of my hand.
So she understood what he was asking for, allegedly, and she used her 10 fingers to let him know that the bus was coming at 10 o'clock. However, this has been misinterpreted as the bus comes every 10 minutes. So there's a lot of confusion here as to how she knew Jay understood what she was saying. Because if she knew that Jay couldn't speak the language and Jay knew that he couldn't speak the language, then body language would probably been used the first time they would have had that conversation. Because it would have been clear to the woman as well as clear to Jay that they don't speak the same language. So how can she confidently say that he asked her for the bus time and she told him the bus time and he understood it and walked away, then came back minutes later to ask again? Now, in my opinion, that witness statement is to put Jay at the scene. It's to confirm that Jay was at the Airbnb. But I've had confirmation from one of the researchers who have actually been at that Airbnb and at that bus stop to say that the bus stop has a timetable at it. So why did he need to go back to the woman and ask her twice?
After this conversation, I left to go home.
He was
So after that conversation, she left to go home. Okay.
walking the wrong way.
But now she confirms when she was driving, she see him walking the wrong way. But she doesn't tell him he's walking the wrong way, even though she's saying she knows that he's walking the wrong way. How does she know that he's walking the wrong way? Who told her that he's walking the wrong way? How did she know? Who communicated to her, a woman that can't speak English, that he was walking the wrong way? How did she know? Who did she speak to? Doesn't make any sense how she knew he was walking the wrong way, but then didn't advise him that he was walking the wrong way, or even offer him a lift to the bottom of the mountain in the direction that he was supposed to be walking in.
I was going to take the car towards Buena Vista. About a kilometer and a half from the house, I saw a guy walking in the same direction that I was going with the car, Buena Vista. And I thought to myself,
again, this is just their way of confirming he walked towards the ravine. Chris Tenerife confirms he walked that way because he saw a calf. But we're going to get to that in a minute.
That it was the same guy who asked me the bus timetable. When I passed by him with the car, I could confirm that it was the same guy. After that, I didn't see him again. I don't know if he took another road, turned back, or something happened to
What other road would he have taken?
him on the way.
Now, I honestly think Affiliate's statement has been fabricated. It's literally just to confirm that Jay was in that area at the time that the narrative wants him to be in that area. Clearly, the Airbnb is the place they sat down and put the plan together, and whoever had the influence over Ophelia spoke to her in a different language to help her understand what her role actually was. And whoever that person is, Ophelia holds a strong loyalty to. That's why she done it. Now, what we can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, is a timeline of missing Brit Jay Slater. This was published by the Daily Mail. Now, I want to bring your attention to number 2. Number 2 says he posts a Snapchat from the Airbnb near Mascot at 7:30 a.m. Then within a space of half an hour, this would have been when Ophelia is leaving the Airbnb. It is claimed by the friends that Jay had called them and said that he was lost in the mountains. Now, as we know, those times have changed. Daily Mail have got it down as 8 a.m. in the morning, but we've got 8:15, we've got 8:25, we've got 8:30, we've got 8:50. There's so many different times that these lot have given us. But here it says 8:50 was the last time the phone pings. And then it says 9:04 a.m. police launch mountain rescue. How within a space of 10 minutes have the Daily Mail and the Sun confirmed that the police launch mountain rescue, but Lucy and others confirmed that she never got down to the police station until the afternoon of that day. Now, them timelines don't make any sense. And as I've mentioned to you guys before, the timelines have changed as the narratives change. As time's gone on, they've had more time to think about what they've said. Therefore, they've changed their time. There's other people that have come into play to try and make sense of this, try and give us a logical reason as to why Jay was making the decisions that he made that day. They were trying to put themselves in Jay's shoes, basically. And one of the things that we were told is that Jay saw a calf called the Mirador de Cruz de Hilda, and he decided he was going to travel to that calf because he wanted to get some scran. That is what we were told. That is the picture that was being painted by Chris Tenerife. Now, before we debunk that theory, look at what we've got on the screen right here. We've got the calf right at the top where Chris Tenerife alleges Jay was trying to get to. We've got the phone ping to the left of it. We've got the body that was found there, and I don't know how the body would have got there from the phone ping, because where the phone ping is, we would have been told that he was lying in a ditch cut by a cactus, but somehow he got out of that ditch and he traveled all this distance. The body was found there, but if you look down the bottom here, the phone was found there. Playa de Juan Lopez is exactly where the phone was found. It was confirmed by the Sun and the Mail that it was found on the beach, the secluded beach. How was his phone found on that secluded beach if he came from this direction, according to Chris Tenerife and the official narrative? His phone pinged here, his body was found there. How did his phone get to this point? That makes no sense. I want to get back to the phone, but before we do that, I want to quickly debunk Chris Tenerife's theory that Jay walked up to that cafe to get some scran and to charge his phone. That's the reason he walked in that direction. Because if we look at this map right here, in the direction that Jay should have been going, there's 1, 2, 3 different spots he could have stopped off at to charge his phone and to get some scran. So I don't understand how we were told, like it was gospel, that he walked up the hill to go to the calf because he wanted to get something to eat and charge his phone, when in the direction of his hotel, there's places that he can stop off and eat. In fact, there's 2 that's right next to the Airbnb, going the right way. So I don't understand how we've been made to believe that Jay walked uphill because he was trying to get to the cafe to charge his phone, even though we had a charger at the Airbnb, as well as to get some scran, get some food. That right there debunks that theory. We can't now say, oh yeah, that's what Jay was doing. It wouldn't have made sense for Jay to have done that when there's other cafes and places to eat close by to the Airbnb, going in the right direction towards his hotel. Now let's bring it back to the phone situation. This is going to be extremely interesting because I brought it to your attention before that someone had Jay's phone. Here, there's a report published by the Mail Online as well as the Sun. They confirm that the local guide Tammy informs the Mail that there was a well-trodden path from Mascar near the Airbnb where Jay stayed, which takes you down to a secluded beach. The Mail reports that Jay's phone was found in the Playa Juan Lopez, a very secluded beach. So that confirms right there that Jay's phone was found. But who put Jay's phone there? How did Jay's phone get there when there is past the destination of where Jay's body was found? Make sense. We already had this proof that someone had access to Jay's phone because we had this published by Jake Armstrong, one of Jay's friends. And he says again that he just spoke to Jay's mom on the phone. For everyone asking who has logged into his Instagram account, it is not him or her. Somebody else has logged into it. So that's proof right there that someone had access to Jay's phone. We also had his friend Aaliyah confirm that a fake account of hers had been created on Facebook and had been messaging all of their friends. So clearly someone within house who had access to Jay's phone was creating fake profiles and also accessed Jay's profile on Instagram and actually made changes. Check this out.
So this has blown my mind. Somebody has gone into Jay Slater's actual official Instagram page and changed it to remembering Jay Slater, as if it's already a sure thing, a factual thing that he's actually already dead. Now, the last I looked and the last I kind of spoke to people involved, Jay's not dead. Jay's not even been found yet.
So who would have done this? Who would have had access to Jay's phone? Who would have changed Jay's Instagram to remembering Jay Slater when the body hadn't even been found yet? Whoever had access to his phone already knew he was dead or was one of the people that killed him.
So who is it that's logging into his Instagram and changing like this? This is gross. Now, if I was involved in this investigation at all, and obviously I'm not, I would be looking at who has that inside information or who is playing a jackass with his account and doing this. Now, if you remember, like back 2.5 weeks ago, on the same day that the police in the Civil Guard said they were going to search the Badlands area and they went out to that little like shack thing with like the blue barrels, they also put out the headline at the same time that Jay's social media accounts, including Instagram, had been logged into and they didn't know who had done it. Now, to me, that needs to be checked. We need to check even if that's Jay's device possibly logging into his Instagram, because it could be Jay, it could be someone who's got his phone, it could be somebody who knows he's dead. That's definitely a lead that needs to be worked now.
Instagram wouldn't have allowed someone to log in through another device. That person would have had access to Jay's phone or Jay's emails. And that's how they would have accessed it. They couldn't have accessed it any other way. They would have needed his phone or they would have needed his email, access to his emails. And that's if he's got his email address signed up to Instagram. If he hasn't got his email address signed up to Instagram, then someone definitely had his phone. Now, this is extremely interesting because this is Ayub claiming that he's got video footage of him and Jay. Keep frying your heads, he says, because I've got a video of me and Jay live and kicking. And then a week later, the guy wants to drop an audio of a person that's from Lancashire. The last bit of footage I was seeing of Jay looked like he was on the verge of collapsing. So at what point did Jay actually ask you to come and stay at your Airbnb? Again, just looking at Jay in this video footage, guys, he looks absolutely wasted. This is definitely later on in the night. This has to be about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. In this video, he looks absolutely finished. Look at him. And Brandon is just looking at him like he's some sort of vulnerable victim. And at this point, when Jay goes to the floor, it's like Brandon starts looking around like he's looking for someone. Now, what a number of people clock is that in the top-hand corner, just under where it says Jay Slater, you can see 2 men. One of them's wearing a pink shirt like Ayub, and the other's wearing a white shirt, and it looks like another dark-skinned male. Some people are of the belief that Jay was intentionally drugged this evening, and he was being observed by other people in this event. Ayub being one of the people that was observing him, allegedly. But it's just weird how they claim that he wasn't at this festival, but it does look like that's Ayub up there. He's wearing a pink t-shirt, that pink night t-shirt that he was wearing on the day of speaking to Lucy. Lucy's wearing the same white dress that she was wearing on that day of speaking with Ayub when he was wearing a pink t-shirt. And you can see that this guy in a pink t-shirt's a bit on the chubby side. So a lot of people are compelled to believe that's Ayub. And this is when Jay looks like he's on the verge of passing out. This has to be about 1:32 a.m. in the morning. That Jay looks absolutely wrecked. And it doesn't make sense why Jay's wrecked, because Jay told his mum he wasn't going to overdo it. And that was just before he arrived to this event. Not the day before, not the days before. We're talking about this same evening. He spoke to Debbie and told her he wasn't going to overdo it. And out of all of his friends, he looks absolutely finished. Look at him there, he's finished. He doesn't look like he knows where he is. He's just floating around. At this point, I'm thinking Jay would have been telling his friends he would want to go home. Everyone else looks sober. He looks waved. I think he would have been telling them that he wanted to go home. Even if Jay at this point was telling Brad he wants to stay out for longer, Brad should have seen the state of him and said, no, bro, you ain't staying. I've got to take you home. And I would have forced him to get into a cab. He's the most waved out of everyone. How are you leaving this guy with two strangers that you don't even know? And then how did Jay find it within himself to say to Ayub, yeah, I want to stay at your house? How was he so adamant, this waved out of his face to Ayub, that he wanted to stay at Ayub's? Why didn't someone put him in a cab at this point and send him to his hotel that was 5 minutes down the road in the car? No, Ayub wants to look like he done man a favor. Oh no, he asked me to stay at my house and I took him to my house and I was a great host. I gave him a blanket, I gave him a charger, I gave him everything he needed. He stopped off at the shop, I bought him water, I bought him Pepsi, so I don't know how he was dehydrated, but yeah, I looked after him. And all of a sudden, when we arrived, within a space of half an hour, he wants to leave. There was no way that Jay looked like this, went outside the club, see Ayub, linked up with Ayub and decided to travel for an hour and then say, I'm leaving the moment he gets there, and then plans an 11-hour walk. I think something happened to Jay shortly after this footage. It's one of the reasons why none of the staff at the NRG festival want to talk. When the manager of the NRG festival was confronted about the Jay Slater situation, he said nobody is going to be talking about that. We already had the information from that English guy who confirms that none of the bartenders were opening their mouths. They're all going to stay tight-lipped. They're staying tight-lipped for a reason. They all talk amongst each other, but in regards to what happened to Jay Slater, they were advised to say nothing. And that's another reason why I believe something happened at the NRG festival and everything else that come after that was a fabrication. Now, what else got brought to my attention is this clip. This is clearly Jay before he was spiked or whatever happened to him, because he seemed normal in this clip. And he's speaking to Lucy, speaking to Lucy. I've seen this clip before, but I never saw this part of the clip before. Let's check this out. Now here, we can see Lucy and Jay having a conversation. But what we didn't see initially, or what I didn't see initially, is Jay pulling his arm away from Lucy as if she's saying, don't go with these guys, or don't go over there, stay with me, or come this way. And it seems like Jay wasn't listening. Just watch this. Jay pulls his arm away from Lucy like she's trying to hold him, and he pulls it away and says, like, get off me kind of thing. And then he walks off with these guys. Now, just to let you guys know, this guy here at the back here, this guy that we can see on the screen right now, this is a guy that I've seen in pictures with Tom Hilton before. This also looks like the guy that was standing on the stones with Ayub days before Jay even arrived at Tenerife. But Jay decides to walk off with these guys after Lucy was seen, I don't know, trying to convince him to stay with her. But here he is. And this is clearly Jay before he is spiked. This is clearly Jay. Look, there's Lucy there, and she turns off and walks the other way. And here's Jay. He literally pulls his arm away from her as if she is telling him, don't go, or they've had a little dispute about something. It clearly does look like Lucy was trying to tell Jay not to go wherever he was going, and he pulled his arm away and decided not to listen. So maybe Lucy is telling the truth when she says that Jay wasn't listening and he wandered off and they found him somewhere else. So the last thing I want to look at is Warren Slater's new video that is published on TikTok. And I know most of you guys would have seen it, but there's something that he says that stands out to me, and I'm going to let you know what it is.
Just a short video to confirm that this is my account. The keys that I found do belong to Down the Rapids guy. I found them at the end of the path. I haven't been back to Tenerife ever since I came back.
And I thought it was old footage because of the hat and the glasses that he was wearing.
From looking for my son. The videos that I've been posting are just documentation of what I was up to, where I was searching, things I was looking at while I was out there.
Things I was looking at whilst I was out there. Now that's extremely important because people have questions as to why Warren put that video out there. But he states there was things that I was looking at whilst I was out there. Now, what were one of the things that we saw in that video? Why was that important to Warren? What did we see in the video? Oh yes, we see Brad sitting on the stones, didn't we? Why was Brad sitting on the stones important? Why was that something that Warren was looking at? Clearly, Warren has spoken to Brad. Clearly, Warren has spoken to the mum. We understand that Warren doesn't buy the narrative. He called the narrative BS. But why was he looking at Brad? Why was Brad important? Where was Lucy? Where was Brandon? Take that as you will. Anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on everything we have spoken about in this video. Everything is questionable at this moment in time, from Affilia's statement, Chris Tenerife's theory on why Jay went uphill instead of downhill, the pinged location screenshot, where the phone was found. There's so many question marks, so many things that we could be talking about for days. Warren Slater isn't happy, and Warren Slater is still looking for answers. Anyway, guys, hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if we are new. Turn the notification bells on, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.